Hello, and welcome back to Chronically Joyful. You are all joining me today from my parents' sunny veranda, so you're welcome for the change of scenery. But I am actually out here because I had the pleasure of joining my family at a drive-through safari, and for all of you who know me, I did slightly overcome my fear of ostriches because those birds are far too big and far too pecky, but we made it. We're here. We are excited that the sun is out and it is 92 degrees, and I'm continuing to prove to myself that I'm no longer heat intolerant. So, thank you for joining me today with a hot cup of coffee with my Y-Files mug that I always use when I come here. Lizard people, for those who know. But wanted to make it super short today and just talk about a motif, I'll say, that I've been using since I was a practicing sports nutritionist, and how that has actually developed over the last couple of years. So the original thing I used to tell my clients back in the day was progress, not perfection. And I still hold that, where it's just like you're trying to be better every single day. You're not striving for perfection by any means. But in the last week, I heard this said somewhere, and I like this so much better, where consistency is kind of brought into the mix here, where practice makes consistent. Progress, not perfection. Practice makes consistent. So while many of us are striving to be perfect at all of these different things in our lives, I liked practice makes consistent, because in my personal opinion, perfection doesn't exist. Everything just is exactly as it is. But instead, progress, practice, however you want to frame it, does make consistency. And through consistency makes progress. It's like, again, like a two-way street, kind of like multiple sclerosis in general, where it's just a huge paradox. So is this, where it's just like the cyclical loop of practicing, which then leads to progress. And for some folks out there, it does lead to technical progression, where it's like those amazing, what is the word of just like, I always want to say idiot savants, but I feel like that is not actually the word that I'm looking for here. The prodigies of the world. Prodigies, either like, yes, you're born a specific way and you just have these inherent skills and it's amazing to see, but through consistent progress and practice from there, that is what leads to at least that definition of perfection. I don't like the word perfection just because I'm like, everything was made perfectly as it is today. Where like my giraffe legs yesterday at the safari park, I saw like these baby giraffes just like eating super bizarrely, and I was like, that's me, like that's how my legs work. It's just like I find that to be a semblance of perfection in some way, because it's imperfect. And you can make fun of me all you want. I know that sounds like something you would have printed on a coffee mug, just like, it's perfect as it is. But having lived almost 12 years with a chronic illness, that's exactly how I approach my life. And nothing necessarily is perfect in any way. It doesn't even have to look good. I say this about my cooking a lot, where it's just like, I am not a trained chef. I will make something and you will eat it and you will love it. You'll be like, this is the most delicious thing I've ever put in my face. But it don't look good. Half the things I bake look like somebody took it out of an oven and just sent a prayer up, and it doesn't look great, but it tastes fantastic, and that's what counts, right? And it's just practice and progress trying to get somewhere. Where I think I've talked about this pretty ad nauseum, where I'm trying so many different things right now. It's almost overwhelming that I'm like, I need to calm down. Like, I just hit my 5-year anniversary at my job, and my prize selection for free, I got a little portable piano keyboard that I'm going to use to plink notes. I know where middle C is. That's a start. So it's like, I'm going to use it to plink notes to better practice for my audition for the Richmond Symphony Choir that I talked about in my last video about dating myself. And I have all of these big goals and big dreams. I just don't possess a lot of the necessary skill set level to be able to do it well. Auditioning for the choir, I've done that quite a bit over the last couple of years. I just want to do it to the best of my personal ability and just feel really proud of what I put out there, as opposed to just flying by the seat of my pants the way that I do with these videos a lot. But at least like the topics come to mind, and it's like, I want to talk about this thing. Or folks reach out to me and they're like, hey, can you talk about this specific thing in more detail, so that like I learn something, or I feel a little bit less alone when I'm going through it. But it's just kind of, I'm trying to naturally let it flow, figure out where I'm going, and then not feel so crazy about needing to practice to make the necessary progress. Because I'm the type of person, jack of all trades, master of none. I have a lot of differing hobbies across the board and interests that are just like almost jarring when you put them next to each other. It's like, that doesn't make any sense, and you're not very good at that, but you're into it. And I'm trying to now get better about practicing these various crafts, as opposed to picking something up once, being terrible at it, and then just being like, I suck, I don't want to do it anymore. Like learning lefty guitar. I'm an abomination. And I did do the thing at first where I was like, well, I mean, it's a bad hand day. I can't really like spread my fingies, and I really can't. Like this hand for the neck and the frets, it's embarrassing. And I'm like, I gotta start working on my finger and grip strength to get this going. But not actually, just being like, darn, I'm terrible at this thing, and it's just not meant to be. On to the next. And actually sticking with it for a while. Being like, no, actually, like, where can this go? What can this become? So consistency actually, I think, is the baseline of all of this, where it's just progress, not perfection. Consistency can lead to whatever definition of perfection you might actually have. And that differs from person to person, where it's like, I'll use cooking again as an example, and it's like, I want to be really, really good at this. And if you finally nail that ratatouille dish you're trying to make, I hear through the grapevine, it's very challenging to make ratatouille right. Shout out to my brother-in-law, who I think has made this many times before, his beef Wellington. Holy guacamole. That also I know is very hard to make. But just like continuing to try and continuing to do the things that really light you up, so that eventually one day you open your eyes and you're just like, oh, I'm suddenly good at this. And it's like, wow, I feel this really incredible sense of pride in the thing that I really wanted to do. And in practice and progress, you reach a specific definition of what perfection actually looks like to you. And it's okay that it's different. And it's the consistency factor. Practice makes consistent. Practice does not make perfection. Practice makes consistent. And when you are consistent, you make progress. And that's huge. And it's just like, hearing those words, I was like, oh, I'm the person that's putting all of this crazy pressure on myself to be not perfect, but like, I'm trying to do all these things. And I'm like, man, I just cannot find the time to spend doing this thing. And I'm going to sell myself out on this one. An easy one to talk about here is yoga. Stretching, I know, is so good for me. And with multiple sclerosis, if you are not aware of this already, your muscles from the muscle spasms, they naturally contract and they actually shorten, which is what actually leads to a lot of chronic pain symptoms. So my neighbor, who is an incredible, incredible mother figure in my life, I love you, Lori, so much. And I know you watch these sometimes. You're the best. She was the one that actually told me, just like, the stretching helps to continuously lengthen your muscles, and it helps with the chronic pain. I'm awful at stretching consistently, because living with Puddles, I love her to death, but she doesn't really let me get on the floor when she's in the same room as me without assaulting me. I love her to death. She's a big ball of love, but she's also learned how to open doors. So it's like I could close my bedroom door and like set out my mat and be like, okay, this time is for me. I'm going to do the thing. She gets in there. She somehow finds her way in there with her giant gooby head. And then it's just like, I can't get anywhere from that point. And that to me is an excuse. It is a full-on excuse that I am admitting to all of you right now. I can find other ways to actually start stretching consistently and not have this problem. I'm just not doing it. So it's like, I know if I'm consistent in my yoga practice, even if I do it for 2 minutes every day for 30 days, that adds up. It doesn't have to be the perfect Instagram worthy sessions that people see where it's like, I did downward dog and legs up the wall and like full lotus position and warrior pose and like all of these crazy things that like my personal preference in yoga. I like floor yoga. I like the stuff that feels really good and doesn't really challenge me. I challenge myself physically in other arenas, and it's just like, it doesn't have to look the way that you expect it to look for it to count. But it matters when you're doing the thing consistently. So I'm talking about this right now also to have you all help me stay accountable, only for the fact that I've not started doing this consistently, but I really, really want to try to start doing it, even for just a minute a day, standing against a wall, balancing myself and stretching my quads. Counts. Every little bit counts. So it is that practice makes consistent. Consistent makes the progress. And I just really wanted to drive that point home here, just because, chronic illness or not, we are all living in a society today that is so action oriented and so, what did I do? What did I deliver to feel valid today? How did I validate my worth externally? And I'm working really hard to remove that. Oh, another use case to saying, cut the cord. Shine down. Please start paying me for featuring you in like every single one of these videos lately. I'm trying to change that narrative and move forward in a way that is, I guess, unconventional, but just not trying to be like, well, I did this today, therefore I can rest. And moving more towards a life model of like, I just want to exist today, and that's okay. And I'm still worthy of being here with all of you and like sharing these messages and just here to tell you, you're not a human doing. You're a human being, and it's okay if you want to take a siesta. Just always bringing it back and just being okay with a little bit. A little bit counts. Progress, not perfection. Practice makes consistent. Every little bit matters. And I know in comparison to the last 40-minute video I put on here, I think around 15 minutes is more acceptable for these kinds of things. But just like every little bit counts, no matter what you're doing. If you are experiencing symptoms in your legs and mobility is not the easiest for you, if you stood up and you walked from your bedroom to the other half of your house, where I'm going to pretend is where your kitchen is located, and back, that counts. And it's okay that it wasn't, I walked the mile around my neighborhood with my dog today. It doesn't matter. It looks different for everyone, and every little bit counts. So that's my little spiel today. Practice makes consistent. We are not striving for perfection here, people. Really. Life is a beautiful splatter paint mural. That is a mess, but every person that looks at that crazy mural sees something different, and they see something that looks beautiful to them. We're all like snowflakes, remember? Ooh, I'm going to sneak in a fun fact I learned yesterday on the safari. No zebra on the planet Earth, as wild as those things are already, no zebra has the same stripe pattern as another. Same with tigers. And you think you go to these things with your family and you're like, I'm going to feed some goats and have a normal day. I learned so many things yesterday. So practice makes consistent. Go learn something random too. It really lit me up. I'll share another one. I'm going to pull this out at parties to just sound really smart. But also, I thought it was really cool. Any horned animal, like there were a lot of like really impressive horns on some bulls and cows and oxes and yaks. I saw a lot of cool stuff yesterday. Their horns are full of nerve endings that when the sun hits them, it helps them regulate their body temperature. Mic drop. Dramatic sip of coffee. Tell all your friends, use it at parties. I thought that was the coolest thing. I completely derailed this entire conversation here. So, bringing it all together. Bringing it back. It's a beautiful day. Practice makes consistent. Every little bit matters. Every little bit. It doesn't have to look impressive. It doesn't have to be more than 1 minute. It still counts. And you're doing great, regardless of where you are. Even if you're just watching this video on your couch and you haven't moved in 3 days, please get up. But also, just even having the idea, I'm going to do this, and then taking that first step. The tattoo on my back is a quote from my favorite book on the entire planet, Swan Song, Robert R. McCammon. I recommend it to everyone. It has everything. It's literally like apocalypto, fantasy, there's magic in it, there's literally everything, and it is an amazing story that everyone should read. And the quote, written in my mother's handwriting on my back, is one step and the next gets you where you're going. So, the light in me sees the light in all of you. Happy sunny Sunday, even though this is posted a little bit late. Thank you for joining me on my parents' beautiful porch at their beautiful home. We're going to go see what Puddles is doing. I will tell you all about what's going on with her in Puddles Cam so that you can enjoy her beautiful face. But appreciate you being here with me as always. Thank you so much for your time, your presence, your energy. It helps keep me going on harder days too. So I love you all so much. Let's go see what Puddles is doing. So Puddles has been losing her mind at my parents' house and went on a beautiful date with her grandpa yesterday to the dog park and has been limping ever since and definitely strained her pretty paws. So thank you for being here, Puddles, and protecting this house as well as the other. We appreciate you.